true believers, it's me, Spidey Sticks. I'm an alternate reality superhero version of Sticks where I finally conquered my fear of spiders by eating one. Alright, that should save me from a lawsuit. Marvel's PlayStation's Marvel's Spider-Man 2 game is releasing this year, and I'm so friggin' excited, dude. I absolutely love Spider-Man. My favorite movie of all time is Spider-Verse. I 100%ed both of the newest games. My wallpaper is Spider-Man. I marathoned all the live-action movies with my best friend the week before No Way Home came out. And I have this massive Lego Daily Bugle set. It's genuinely one of my favorite things that I own. Goddamn, I could go all day about this goober. And so with the release of this new game, I have a few things I want to see in this entry. First of all, I'd like for the boss fights and villains to be more varied. There was only one fight I thought was actually interesting, and that was the one where you chase Shocker around the city. I especially hate that every villain is wearing power armor in this game. I understand it's supposed to be realistic, but this is set in the same universe as the Avengers, Doctor Strange, the Inhumans, and probably even the X-Men, so it doesn't really matter if these goons have realistic means of being able to shoot electricity out of one's body, now does it? I don't need absolutely bonkers villains to fight against, like Big Wheel or the Spot, or anything weird like that. But at least give me someone like Jack-O-Lantern or Mysterio, or someone that could fight a little differently, you know? As well, I'd really like to see a new mechanic added where you just fight superpowered villains randomly throughout the city, just like the normal crimes. I think it would be super fun to just hop into a boss fight with Rhino or Beetle every now and then, just as a nice little distraction. This would be different from the normal, like, Taskmaster-like challenges, because in those you actually have to go somewhere and start the minigame, rather than just walking into a fight. This also leads into my other thing. Let me save people without fighting, or just, like, let me catch a balloon, or do some set of menial tasks that don't require me to punch a guy so hard you think Spider-Man made that slip up again. Also, more side stories like that one Tombstone mission. I really like this to be used as a way to have team-ups like with Daredevil or Moon Knight, so that way they don't just bump into you randomly during a story and say, well, Spider-Guy, that was fun, now I gotta get back to fighting a werewolf, see ya, and then they leave and never interact with the main threat like certain Avengers. Next up is the traversal. I'd love for the option to have a higher skill ceiling for the web swinging. This isn't something I absolutely need, but I'm all for having extra options, just for players who want a little extra in their game. I'd also love to see more web swinging animations for Peter. Like, look at Miles. I mean, look at this boy. This kid's so fluid, he ad-lib web fluid joke. I'd love for the option to change the weather like in the last game. It'd allow for people to go even further beyond with the photo mode. And it's such like a nice, simple addition. I think it would be just really nice. Also, for the love of God, can we get a mission selecting cutscene viewer? Miles Morales did this, and it was amazing, but I need this in the main game as well. And as for the cutscene viewer, just the basics, like in something like Xenoblade, suit swapping, weather changing, maybe the ability to take photos during it. I had to replay a ton of parts of this game to gather footage, and I wish I could just, like, select the levels and cutscenes instead of going through this whole process just to get, like, one thing, you know? My, would you look at the time? Next up is the time for alternate suits. You've got it. Wow, that was... of course I want to see all the original suits return. I don't really see why this wouldn't happen, but just in case, I'm gonna put it on the list anyway. These next suits are pretty obvious, but shut up, it's my video. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit and the suit from the end of No Way Home. These are like the last two suits they needed from the movies. Also, they're just like my favorite live action ones ever. I really love their inclusion. But I'm also going to put these two here as well. The wrestling suit and the vigilante suit from the first Spider-Man movie and the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. I don't know, I think it would be nice to just have all the iterations of the origin suits as well, and kind of be cute. So with this next game using the spider legs as a way to kind of balance Peter and Miles, I feel it only makes sense to add the superior Spider-Man suit. I'm a big fan of this design and it makes sense to put it here. The only reason they wouldn't add it is because they would do like a story like Superior Spider-Man in the third game. I wouldn't bet on that though, because it would probably end up being like the third time we've seen Spider-Man fight the mentor character, and I was already pretty bored of seeing that for the second time, so just, you know, hopefully they put it in this entry. The 10th anniversary Miles Morales suit is just one of my favorites, and yes, it's because it's a streetwear outfit with hot pink, but it's cool, okay? It's a goated suit, and I want it, alright? The Spider-Man life story spacesuits would just be like a nice little wacky addition to throw in there. And I really like the idea of having both Spider-Men have one just so they can match. I really like that. Another one is one of the 4 suits from the Slingers, a group of alternate personas that Peter had to wear because Spider-Man was framed for murder. I don't think all of them would make it in, so if I just had to pick mine, I would probably go with Hornet because it's the most interesting visually. The Spider-Man Unlimited suit would just be a weird little thing to see come true, and I'm all here for it. Unlimited has such an interesting history, and it's so odd, and I'd love for someone to mention its existence, you know, one of these days. Alright guys, this one definitely isn't just because these two are a combination of my 2 favorite heroes, right? The Arachnite just so happens to be a combination of Spider-Man and Moon Knight, alright? Okay, jokes aside, I would love to see this suit, alright? It would look so cool during the night, and come on! It's Moon Knight! And Spider-Man! The Dustin Weaver suit, or the high-tech suit, I'm always a big fan of suits that actually look different from the classic one, and this is a pretty great example. Also, having more suits that glow in the dark is always fun. Shoutouts to Skechers for that one. Probably the most obvious, like, suit entry of all time ever, but I'd really love an accurate Ditko suit. I would love it so much, dude. The little squinty eyes, the blue spider on the back, the underarm webbing. The stupid vintage suit doesn't count. That's just like a shader applied to the model. But what I want to see is like the real deal original Spider-Man suit. I feel like this would be a nice little completion bonus, like the Undies suit, if they really wanted to go down that route. But either way they put it in would be just amazing. So, you know. And last, but definitely not least, give me the Spider-Verse streetwear suit. Oh my god, this is the suit of all time ever. It is so cool. I even made it in Animal Crossing. It's so cool that even the minifigure references it. It's a goated ass suit. As if there was such a thing, it would be suit of the year. Alright, hashtag so. Let's go. Alright, I'm about to pitch something insanely conceptual. It's so stupid specific that it 100% will not be in this game unless God himself makes it happen. Alright, but I'm gonna pitch it anyway, because, you know, this is my video, alright? So hear me out on this one. Alternative, alternate suits. So you know how the damage variant of the classic suit takes up its own slot? Well, that got me thinking about how there isn't an option to just simply like mash it together like there is in Smash Ultimate with the Echo Fighters. So that got me thinking about all the alternate looks I would give all the suits in this game if this option was here to begin with. Not every suit would have an alternate costume or an alternate suit. But just enough to validate this as an option, you know? So here are the ones I could think of. Well, that seems like it's about stopping point time, Purdue. That's all the stuff I'd like to see in Spider-Man 2. Except for an accurate 2099 suit. But let's not kid ourselves, guys. That's never gonna happen. I'm not really expecting any of these things to make it into the sequel. This video is mostly just for fun. Like I said, Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes of all time, and I was just kind of glad to make a video about the little dudes. But hopefully Spider-Man 2 is just as good as the original, because I didn't even really have any problems with it. I just wanted some more content, you know? Oh, man. I'm actually incredibly impressed that the city managed to stay crime-free for about 8 minutes. Just goes to show, with great power comes great responsibility.